Hey everybody, welcome back to another Sun-Faced Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're watching some Vinland Saga. We're on the penultimate episode today, and we got a comment about last episode from Reaganmacher175, who says, Thorfinn is not obligated to save all of humanity from itself.
Itself, yes.
Yeah, completely different context.
He's gone crazy. Save
He
it from himself.
He merely states that he is not obligated to inflict suffering on others just because that's what everyone else is doing during the period of history he lives in. The might makes right attitude is where everyone's problems stem from. Thorfinn merely suggests that you should at least put effort to resolve the situation without violence, which Kettle and other people on the farm have not done.
Right, interruption.
Sure.
There's 3 paragraphs here, so I figured we might as well just comment response each one. I mean, at the same time, you have to also be realistic. And I feel like if you're willing to just kill yourself, like on the pacifism thing, sure, he doesn't have to save humanity from itself. But if getting killed is the only way, then what was the point of living all of these years, right?
In terms of realism, I feel like Thorfinn isn't completely out of the park here. His primary goal is to talk to one person and try to convince them, a single person who he's saved their life before, and presumably there's at least some positive feelings in there on their relationship.
By getting killed. Clearly, he didn't get killed in the episode, but I'm just saying that getting punched 100 times by a bear killer is probably going to kill you. In a real world, should have done. I understand he was pulling the boxing maneuver of angling back to every punch, but even then,
the anime, yeah.
Well, it's not even an anime thing. That's literally what some boxers do. Well, I mean, because you can't do it every time, and clearly he didn't get it done every time. But it only takes one bad hit to kill a person, and I'm just saying that. What's the point? What is the point at the end of the day? And I guess this is to all martyrs out there. What is the point at the end of the day to have wasted all of our time and resources, raising you and then feeding you and clothing you if you're just going to get killed and ultimately your message never really being received? And I don't mean that even as the, hey, you didn't save all of humanity. We know Canute didn't get the message. We saw it that episode.
I think even if he died in the process, like anywhere over like 20 punches or something, right? He probably would have at least gotten his message through to those people that, wait, there's at least one person willing to put up with this much shit for what he was talking about? Damn.
I think at that point you're wrong.
At least it's
only because you have to do something extraordinary to be able to get through to those people. They bet from 10 punches to 90-something punches. So even the 90 punch guy wasn't going to be swayed until we got to 90 punches. So
I don't know if he wouldn't have been swayed if he still won the bet, but he probably would have been there with everyone else at the end just going, oh wow, this is actually really uncomfortable.
Right, it just takes something superhuman at that point to have swayed him. I think it would have been a, wow, damn, everyone turns around, exchanges money, then goes about their ways, right? I don't think it would have wound up with a, wow, I am moved for the rest of my life because I watched a guy get punched 100 times and then died.
He's doing what he can within his own desired limitations, at the least.
Well, I understand. Look, I understand that what I'm saying often comes off across as "why try," but I'm just saying
that's just your vibe in general. It's fair.
I mean, it's not really. Look, I understand that I'm one contrarian and two often devil's advocate as well, which is what you like in a friend, right? But
totally, I love having to argue every time.
I mean, to be fair, we both, Griff, I'm sorry to say this, we both come across as debate team material, so I'm sure.
Almost was.
Never had to be. I'm just saying that my point is that quite often characters give you the material to be used against them, and Thorfinn isn't trying to make things better for everybody. He's trying to express the way that a world should be in the most detrimental way possible to himself. And all I'm saying is that is a bad way to live.
Fair enough. Meanwhile, back on the math and science UIL team, as for Canute, he was giving options other than just taking everyone else's land in episode 11, notably reducing the size of the Danish army in England. His fear of a rebellion, founded or unfounded, who knows, by the English was the main reason why he did not do so, but he also did not try to approach the English nobility in ways that would have made a military occupation unnecessary, for instance, through marriage. He just decided to take a decision that was the easiest in his mind, but its implication was a lot of suffering for everyone else.
He did the logical thing, yes.
But yeah, we.
You know what
I think
the
it was
intermarriage...
11, right?
By the way, you know what the intermarriage of royal families across Europe to abate military conflicts caused in the long run across Europe?
Inbreeding?
World War One.
That too.
The intermarriages caused a giant nest, or giant net of alliances, familial alliances, which created, I don't know, countries that had forced to go to war with one another. It's kind of like all we did via this alternate method was put off a lot of these wars into one large one.
All I'm saying, Europe is a little bit fucked up. But anyway.
Well, my point being is that, you know, when people want to fight one another, they'll find a reason, family or not.
Right.
Kind of like how Canute killed his brother.
But the earliest point in the season where we saw Canute was he was setting stuff on fire, demonstrating power, already having inflicted violence, and then tries to talk people down.
Well, yeah,
so he's already lost the goat here.
Witness the breadth of my reach and fire, distance. But again, he's also the man who killed his brother through poison. So it's not like I'm gonna wed together these foreign countries was going to do much for the guy. Once you start committing familicide, I guess the word I'm looking for here, it's not really, you're not going to get moral high ground on anything else.
Right, it comes down to how much is Canute rationalizing with his ostensible ideology here to cover up the fact that he's just taking the easiest path he can as king. And that's a serious question to have with Canute, because it's not like he's completely ungenuine, right?
And once again, to reach back, should we all live in the world that Thorfinn idealizes? Yes. Is that a world that's possible? No. I'm
putting a definite maybe on it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here against myself and say no, because I don't know, I'm just going to point to the history books of all of human history as this is why not.
Where we call the segment Theta versus Theta.
Here's my proof. Cain v. Abel.
One last paragraph. By the way, the scene where Canute orders the waves to stop is based on a 12th century apocryphal anecdote regarding Canute and the tide, which illustrates the piety/humility of Canute. In that story, Canute showcases that he has no power over the elements because secular power is vain compared to God's supreme power. In the anime, he is forced to be humble because he knows that he does not have any power that surpasses God's own power over the universe.
I would also like to lean back to where we were just watching Gundam, The Origin, and making fun of the fact that they couldn't control the weather in their own space station, which... I guess I didn't point out in that, but my favorite thing about that is one of my favorite sci-fi novels is Eon by Greg Bear. And the inside atmosphere of the asteroid is basically just nature let loose, because there's a whole chamber of just basically plants, water, everything. It's just allowed to slosh and do whatever the fuck it wants, because it carries... It's basically, it's all in balance, and it carries it everywhere else along the asteroid. But the idea that we're so used to weather controls in sci-fi, basically our ability to control God's universe, that we're making fun of a sci-fi where they have no control of when it rains.
I do like that they managed to pull not only a historical anecdote, but also use it perfectly for the same purpose in a excellent context for it too. Like that's really good adaptation.
Yeah, no comment. No, no comments. I meant no complaints. I got no complaints. I appreciate that you can pull out a real story or an anecdote. Probably, maybe it didn't happen, whatever. But you can pull it out and animate it.
I do love though that the animation of it had us going in the first half. We're just like, hold up, is he about to actually do it?
Well, because you pulled so many
we got
times.
tricked.
You pulled so many times. Is he crazy because he's talking to his dad's head? That
Mhm.
maybe he thinks he's powerful enough to do this thing. And that's just that you don't know if he's crazy or not until the end where he explains, of course I couldn't stop the waves. Did you think that was going to happen? I'm just a man.
Played
A man
played
living
us
in
for
God's
fools.
world.
Still absolutely love it. So that's our comment. Let's go ahead and quickly just go over what happened last time. In The King of Rebellion, Draught begins punching Thorfinn, who manages to absorb and deflect most of the powerful blows until Snake arrives, distracting him, and he is knocked down by Drort after 32 blows. However, Thorfinn gets up and withstands another 68 blows until Draught collapses from exhaustion. When Wolf asks why he did not fight back, Thorfinn replies that that is not their battle, only a dispute between Canute and Kettle, which could just be easily settled by a game of, Hanafafel. However that's supposed to be pronounced. Wolf agrees to take Thorfinn and Einar to Canute, who explains that only he can unite the Vikings. He states that the acquisition of Kettle's farm is a key of his plan and is non-negotiable.
Again, what I've mentioned before, one of my top 5 favorite manhwa
Uh-huh.
is The Breaker, which is literally a story about a kid who is punchable. He's really punchable in the fact that like every fight he gets into, he's left a bloody mess. But he always gets back up, and it always inspires the person fighting against him that maybe their way is the wrong way, and they learn to respect this guy who's willing to stand up to all these hits. So it's not like I completely disagree with it. And the point is that he's also bad at fighting, so he has like no chance to win anyway. So the fact that he can take all these punches is basically his own thing. Up until they flip the whole fucking thing and the Breaker new waves, where he becomes the world's best fighter. So it's kind of destroying the message. But I'm just saying, I don't disagree with the whole inspiring other people by your own pure tenacity. I just don't think it works when you set yourself in a historical time period that you know isn't going to play well.
I think more directly, we did leave off the episode with Thorfinn trying his best to convince Canute, and it did not work, and they are still at a standstill, and Canute still wants the farm, and there's no other way about
Well,
it.
we still have Thorkill lurking about, possibly about to make things better or worse.
Oh gosh, yeah, he might go for another assassination play. Ah, can't wait.
Otherwise, someday we might reach Vinland.
In the promised land, together, Theta, we'll get to Vinland, which
Here
is
near the
actually where
very
you
end,
live.
near the very end of season 2 of the show about Vinland Saga, which so far hasn't taken place. Look, people in near the end of season 1 or near the beginning of season 2, I think it's probably near the beginning of season 2,
Mhm.
have brought it up before that Vinland isn't the isn't not hypothetical. What's the word I'm looking for here? Where Vinland represents heaven.
Metaphorical.
It's not the metaphorical version where Vinland represents heaven. But I'm thinking those people are liars at this point because we pulled heavily both on the religious thing multiple times in season 1 and heavily here in season 2, especially now that Canute's been like, this is God's domain.
The characters themselves have put so much emotional expectation onto Vinland at this point for their own like personal beliefs and getting them through things that if they ever actually go there and like one random tribe of natives pulls a bow on them, their whole reality's gonna shatter.
Well, my thing is that Vinland, as the metaphor for heaven, has been done 1,000 more times than Vinland is a location across the ocean. Which, by the way, I think Leaf said last episode, no, episode before last, which was like, it's been 30 episodes since the last person said Vinland is a place on Earth.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Maybe. But, I say let's go ahead and take one step closer to Vinland and see if we can maybe get them to resolve things in Vinland's direction. Because we gotta go somewhere after all this, right?
We could die.
But before we die, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra.
Click the link down below, join the Discord, and tell me how wrong I am. And maybe, one day, I'll believe you. I think the thing that also gets me here is that here in the opening, we're shown that distant shore thing, which is also a metaphor for heaven, which has Thorfinn sitting on one side of a lake and his dead dad on the other. Which is, I mean, it's visual that we got even in Ranking Kings. But here, Vinland being heaven and seeing your dad on the far side of a lake, which is supposed to represent the separation between Earth and the afterlife, is highly representative of the Vinland that we didn't expect to reach here in the show.
Vinland is now our heaven too.
Well, I just mean all the gaslighters in the comments saying that it's not about heaven Vinland, it's about Earth Vinland. And then the gaslighters in the show itself, who keep bringing up Vinland as a place across the ocean.
It is 2 seasons of build-up to it. This is the longest prequel I've ever watched.
Well, season 1 was the prequel. Now we're in the show.
No, this is still the prequel. We're still not in Vinland, right?
No, not unless the last episode is the end of the prequel, like season 1 was. But the point being is, we went through a whole season of prequel where we didn't get to Vinland. And now we're through a whole season of not getting to Vinland. Someone did say I think they would like season 3. And that better because they get to fucking Vinland.
You know, we still have Journey to the West. You know, they never really get there. Bringing up the show's best character. And someone who's been our 3rd reaction member for a while now. Oh, I like how they've changed their attitude a bit here.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah. Despite what all the commenters say. You know the only way to prove me wrong, commenters? Rise up against me.
Give the show a minute.
Oh, those lowly men killed you, remember? I appreciate that Thorfinn had to go to hell to learn his lessons. Canute had to become a sheep farmer.
Oh, I love the way they're expressing this, though. This is great. You have to kill them, Canute. It's your job.
To be fair, it's true. Sheep are like lemmings.
What are you gonna do, Thorfinn?
逃げる。
How'd you leave?
Yeah.
Running away, what most gamers won't do.
逃げるだけか。
I've heard about this place called Vinland.
それだけか。他に何ができる。ここでお前と差し違えろってのかよ。
That's kind of what I was expecting, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's the kid I knew a long time ago would have done.
多くの人を助けて少しの人を虐げる。そういうたちのものなんだろう。俺にはそれがいいことか悪いことかわからないし、お前の無茶を責める資格もない。だからもう逃げるしかないだろう。エイナル、行こう。そなたは優れた戦士だ。他にも術があろう。そなたはこの帝王の前へただ諫言をしに来たのか。そんな顔になってまで。それも無駄だった。さよなら、王陛下。
Ah, the guilt trip. Truly,
Like,
he's
you're all
learned.
that just to...
Truly, Thorfinn's learned from the best mothers in history. Right now, Canute's thinking, but I don't care. So why am I so angry? And why do I feel like I care so much? I can't let him be right. God.
Oh, there's the snap.
よと。
And then Thorkill jumps out of the water.
したがる者は多い。罠にはめようとする者も。だが。なんだそなたは。大バカ者め。何の切り札もないのか。寸鉄も帯びず、散々殴られ、農場接種をやめろと言いに来ただけか。
Yeah.
そんなに面白いかよ。
It kind of is Thorfinn.
これほどくだらない和平交渉は初めてだ。逃げるか。ああ。バイキングの中からこのような男が生まれうるのか。美しい男だ。
All I'll say is I at least understood season 1.
This is a great moment.
I'm sorry, commenters. From here on out, you're talking to Griffin. It's not that I don't like the show. I just don't understand this. This isn't the world I live in.
This is emotional. It's nice.
Yeah, no, it's just emotion that's not based on anything I can sink into.
逃げられるだけ逃げてやるさ。逃げる先があるうちは俺は戦わない。
I understand the thought processes of all sides. I understand their stances. But it's all amounting to gibberish when I put it all in my head because I just don't fucking understand anything.
All you have to understand, Theta, is that you have no enemies. Sorry, I love that.
I understand. It's like waking up one day, Griffin, and everybody telling you that they've always enjoyed putting pickles in their tacos.
そなたが埋めるというのはできるのか、そなたに。俺の力はお前よりずっと小さいんだ。あんまりでかい穴は手に負えねえ。お前がこの調子で人々を迫害し続けるなら、 そのうち誰にもお前を助けることはできなくなる。
So that's a Jesus thing to say right there.
お前も努力しろ。俺の仕事を増やすな。まったく。
See, if they like display that Thorfinn was like the second coming of Jesus, I would fucking understand everything. But he's not.
That would be too pretentious. That'd be too on the
It'd
nose.
be, Griff. Would it fucking be too pretentious?
This at least has full heart behind it.
No, pretentious is the word that I'd feel like is the most descriptive term for this so far. It's the only character left in the show that I understand.
The one who's being broken by the fact Canute literally just accepted it and walked away.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, I understand what I don't understand. Or that I understand that I don't understand. You see, with my missing eye, all I can see is the past. Like I said, if they just said that Thorfinn was the second coming of Jesus, I'd be like, okay, fine. At least I understand where the show's trying to go. Or why it's trying to jerk itself off. But, I mean, they're not saying that. And it's the first time he's seen him in so many years, and he's just like, yeah, this is fine.
その後、クヌートはイングランド財政を圧迫していた中英デンマーク軍に
Killed your brother for this, did you?
Yeah,
Hope that was
sure
good.
did.
最終的にクヌート直属のデンマーク人部隊は
Knut was later killed.
16隻の艦隊のみとなった。
Because he'd basically have to be at that point. You're a mad king.
だが
He was mad in the other
イ
direction.
ングランドでの反乱は起こらなかった。
And England is still
クヌートが
Vikings to
軍事
this
力を
day.
手放すことでイングランドの諸侯はクヌートの信頼を知り征服者と非征服者の関係が変化しようとしていた。
The local peasant, though, was still a serf on their lord's land.
And then people slowly remembered how many people Knut killed to get here. And they got angry. And the English slowly remembered everything that happened to them in Season 1. And they also got angry. And then the slaves remembered everything that happened to them in Season 2. And they too got angry.
I'm actually more surprised he's back at the barn.
Why not, right? Jesus was born in a barn. Knut was reborn in a barn. Sorry, Thorfinn was reborn in the barn. Almost lost the metaphor there. All we're missing is all the 3 wise men and the sheep. Oh, but they were sheep the whole time. I forgot at the beginning of the episode. Knut saw that. God, I guess that makes his dead dad God. I'm saying is I can jerk people off with metaphors too. Doesn't make me good.
Oh, you're so upset at them just resolving things peacefully.
I'm not upset with them resolving things peacefully. I'm just stupid. I am stupid, but I'm just angry at the stupid way it worked out. I didn't start watching Vinland Saga thinking that Thorfinn was going to be a metaphor for Jesus. I specifically love the middle part of the Bible where the Jesus as a teenager is missing and it turns out he killed a lot of people.
Look, all I'm going to say is Jesus literally took a whip to people.
I'm sorry, do you mean Jesus took a whip for people?
No, he literally took a whip and whipped a whole bunch of
Oh,
bankers.
you mean the money exchangers at the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
That
Jesus
all
can
look
get
terrible.
angry. Like I said, nobody talks about the middle half of the Bible where Jesus is an assassin for the Jewish government.
That they keep that in the back of the books, you know.
No,
You
it's
got to be really dedicated to
one
read
of the
them.
redacted books that the church didn't want to talk about anymore. It's a shame, though, because all that part where he learns his lesson and then goes to the king of Israel about talking about how he learned his lesson and how peace is the only way. It's a real story.
すまん
It's funny, they laid out their flowers the same way that Boji does for his mother on her grave.
Is that actually supposed to be like a specific arrangement, like a meaningful one,
Nah, I think it just
or is it just happenstance?
happenstance, it feels like.
It just looks cool for 3 flowers.
I'd hate to learn that it's laid out in some sort of Japanese word symbol. For sorry, or...
What's the Japanese symbol for Vinland?
アルネイズさんが息を引き取るときすぐに答えられなかったなぜ生きなければならないのか
She didn't have to, it was her choice.
死に安らぎを求める
Guilt-tripping her into survival is an evil.
どんな言葉をかけられるって言うんだ
Hey, he's saying it himself there.
生きろと言える世界が欲しい
But not force them to.
救いを
Like a pro-choice world, one might say.
胸を張って語れる
Oh, this is good. This is actually good motivation.
俺たちの生きる世界にそれだけをみんな求めていたのに
Well, not for season 1. You in fact wanted to kill the guy all season 1. So the birds represent dead people?
Maybe just everyone out there, or maybe just pretty.
Does it represent us, the audience?
ごめんやしない
We had the birds all along. They
どこに
Look, after I didn't understand the deer and the wolf in the afterlife, who the fuck knows what anything means anymore?
ないなら
There's literally the first thing in the opening of the show was a seagull, so who the hell knows?
エイナル
I think I'm just too dumb to understand the show. Before you commenters get into an uprest or
兄弟
whatever you're gonna
一緒
do,
に来い
since I already did everything I said I was gonna do, but just thinking I'm just too dumb.
they're gonna do it. They're going to
アルネイ
Vinland.
ズさんに胸を張って語れるような
One half of your reactor team here is too stupid to understand this show.
海の向こうに奴隷も戦争もない国を作ろう
I'm so sorry, Einar.
Hope you're not too attached to that scalp.
Precisely the
アルネイ
opposite.
ズのために
By the way, your arrival on those shores will bring diseases that have never once been touched by the people who currently live there, and will decimate their population for generations to come. Congrats! Live! Tell those people to live. Smallpox got nothing on them. Those are CGI birds. Well, I see a bug-eye kid, which means Leaf is on the boat somewhere. Why are you smiling? Everybody you know is dead. But you and your
Really
son.
thought they would be going with them.
I didn't think that. Maybe Snake.
本当に
That was the perfect time to yell Snake from the boat while they're flying away.
俺が出しゃばってやったことですから
旦那や農場のみんなには若旦那が王を説得したってことにしてやる
助かります
Omar taking credit for shit he didn't do once again.
任せなさい私が守る
I'm also surprised the old man is still alive. He was dying for like 3 weeks.
いや
トルフィン、俺はあなたのようになりたい。
Oh,
And
he's
that's
learned a
why,
lesson.
and that's why every year on December 24th we celebrate Omar and Thorfinn for bringing peace to the world
オルマルさん
on that one English farm
あなたは
or Danish farm, whatever the fuck it
戦いをや
is.
める決断をしたと聞きました。素晴らしいことです。俺は15年もかかってしまった。
That feeling where you have to admit Omar might be smarter than Thorfinn, but
I mean,
sorry.
in my heavy-handed critique of the show,
自分が何をする
Omar
べきか
really never decided to start fighting. He wanted to, but he sucked so badly at it that somebody had to force him to kill the one and only guy he's ever
守って
killed.
いってください。
He rejected the pressures of his society to choose a different
大
option.
旦那様
Finally.
He was too much of a coward at the beginning to ever have got killed anybody. His older brother forced him to kill a guy.
言ったはずじゃ。ただの契約だと。礼を言われる筋合いは。
But that's not saying killing people is good. I'm just saying that Omar never would have killed anybody on his own to begin with.
銀10区でも持って行ってほしかったんだけど。
Pretty sure that's not the currency of the Native Americans anyway. Slight pause. I was trying to figure out what to call them.
俺の名はロワルド。グリムの子、ロワルドだ。
Oddly, that name does sound familiar. It's probably nonsense. Never heard it before, but
ありがとう、ロワルドさん。
皆さんお元気で。
God, Thorfinn looks like Hajime. I'm sorry, Ippo Makinouchi at the end of any boxing episode.
He got the shit beat out of him.
I
for
know,
a
I
whole
know.
hour.
It's just they've dressed him up, like at the end of every episode of Hajime no Ippo, when the fight's over.
Oh, hey, Kettle. I actually was wondering where you were.
I didn't give a shit. Not after what he did to Arnheid. And I know they're gonna say slave owners are bad by definition. Still, we started off the season of him not being that bad of a guy. Hey, Fox is still alive. And that one random girl whose dad is dead. Yes, I do remember the side characters. Oh, that's the thing. The thing from the beginning. Carve it.
Oh, it's calluses.
Carve it in your flesh and blood. This is a Protestant message. It's the Protestants, right, that thrive off of hard labor?
I'll need to refresh myself on some of that.
Carve it into your enemies. Thorkill.
つうか、兄貴はいつになったら働くんだよ。ほらほら。
うっせえな。ちょっと休んでただけだろ。本物の畑仕事ってのを見せてもらうよ。
見せてもらおうじゃないの。
This is at least cute for like where a lot of them end up at.
私はずっと耐え抜く人生だった。無数の苦痛もこの世の断りだと。
It is.
The reason Swipe hate her is like been so nice to everyone else the whole time.
にできるとはな。アルネイズ。
Pain is the way of the world.
His eyes are opening, it's a message.
And I don't mean that as like if mankind was so bad to one another, we'd get rid of pain. Pain is independent of humanity. Pain was given to us by God. God loves it when you're hurting. That's why you hurt so much.
And, if that was just the whole series right there, I'd be happy.
I'll get one more episode to be able to ruin it. Look, I appreciate where the characters end up at, and that they're appreciative that you don't have to fight and squabble to make a world that's worth living in. But the point being that that's not the world that they live in. And remember early on where they hired Snake and Fox and crew?
Yeah.
You remember why they were hired?
To protect the farm from random people.
Yeah, the random people that wander by and are violent. Yeah. Those people still exist. Just because this fight and everything happened, just means that the farm is more ill-prepared for anything else to happen.
I guess, to try to, absorb the show's message here and put it out. What if they tried to confront those bandits and then said, and tried, giving them offer of, maybe come work over here, maybe come do this or that. Maybe we could start trading with your village. Things like that's the way the show wants you to start thinking.
Right.
That's what it's proposing.
I'm sure that would work for a percentage of the people. But what about the percentage of the people it doesn't work on?
Yeah. Over here in the real world, with me trying to be, as close to pacifism as possible, I'd probably have to say, yeah, no, you gotta put them down.
Hold on. Fucking went home!
I know.
Oh man, his mother aged badly. How about the sister, though? Anyway.
Well, Theta's first question, how's the sister looking?
We saw her already. Well, good to know, because remember his mother was dying, or was supposed to have been dying, and then he didn't go home. My point being is that, anytime... anyone who's ever been mugged, right? Do you give those people a Jesus message and they just walk away, not taking your money or hurting you? Right? It's what we all acknowledge is the real world. And it's well, you're saying that no message should exist of peace and prosperity for all mankind? No, it's fine. But we typically do that once or twice a year on a holiday because we recognize it's not the world we live in. But it's also the fact that what Pater was saying, right? That pain, I only thought this world was pain. Death and disease exists without humans, right? You will suffer, endure, toil, and hurt, because that is the natural state of the world.
I think, in a practical sense, communication and, mediation are difficult skills. And it is not always possible to immediately get a result.
I feel like I have less of a problem.
You're the emblem child for person who may be stuck on a point and refusing to move on, right?
No, I was literally about to say, I feel like I had less of a problem with this when it was Symphogear, because it's literally their message. And it's literally a girl saying, we don't have to fight, we're people, we can talk. As long as we can talk, we can communicate. And it's yeah, that's perfectly understandable. I think,
and then because he turns around and punches God because she can. But
well, she hasn't. She keeps saying she has. She hasn't punched God. My point being is that's set in the modern day, and you know what the modern day has going for it that this doesn't?
Nuclear weapons.
No, it takes place in an unknown future. We don't know that the future can't be peace-loving, that the UN doesn't sit down with every other nation of the world. We know it's probably not going to, but we don't know the future. Whereas this is 1,000 years in the past, and we have 1,000 years worth of history books to tell us what's not going to happen.
The history of it is distracting to you, obviously.
Very much.
Here's another example, though. Avatar: The Last Airbender. You watched that for sure, right?
I've watched 4 times, maybe.
Great show.
I watched it when it came out.
One of its primary things is the inherent pacifism of the main character, where they are raised to, follow this very strict Buddhist teaching of of valuing all life at all times. Like
Well-
real Buddhist practices, some of them like sweep the floor just so they don't hurt bugs. But at
Correction.
the very
The
end,
correction is it's
everyone
not.
is telling him.
He's not fighting. He's not killing. Is the point? He
Right,
refuses
right.
to kill, not hurt people.
I think we can still draw a parallel here because at the very end, he's talking to literally every single person, and every one of them is just like, no, you need to stop Ozai. You need to put him down. He is a danger to everyone. And they are all absolutely right.
Yeah, he
The
has those
show
panic
even has
attacks.
an earlier moment with Iroh when he tells Zuko, it's like, no, your sister is crazy and needs to be put down. Like, they understand, like, there are points where things are possible, and there are some people who are not going to change until they literally die.
But I guess that the show subverts itself by then not killing those people.
When it comes to at least Azula, like, I think that one was handled well
Well, she
because
goes crazy and gets arrested. It's not really. I meant the Fire
no,
King is
hold
the
up.
better example.
I know, but there's two examples because one's good, one's bad. The good one, Azula, is they capture it because it ends up being convenient. That's just the way the fight goes, and so they do it, and it's entirely possible. She's disposed of after that. But Ozai, Aang has to go out of his way to get a brand new magical way to get exactly what he wants, which is all a little bit rushed, right?
I mean, it's not really magic. It was shown off early on with the bloodbender woman. I mean, he doesn't really do the bloodbending thing. He does that spirit thing. But my point being is that he could have just used the bloodbending that the witch woman that was a friend of what's-her-name's mother did, and what the Legend of Korra guy does later on. He could have just done that, and it would have done the same effect. So the whole magical writing thing doesn't really need to be a plot point there, because literally...
But the question comes obviously down to, if he didn't get that, what would his solution have been, or would he have just not solved the problem?
My point being
And
is that
that's-
he could have
and-
just bloodbended and he wouldn't have had a magical solution, and
Right,
he
and
would have had the same ending.
And it comes back down to, like, what you're saying, like, the practicality of the world is, like, you do have to take some of that into account. And when it comes to real pacifism dialogue, usually there's a lot of defending yourself is perfectly okay, do not just let yourself get killed.
Yeah, I'm just going to use the same...
Do not do what Thorfinn did and get beat up for 100 punches.
To use the same terminology that every politician loves to say, slippery slope.
Yeah.
Right? The moment you start defending yourself is the moment you start training people to defend themselves.
It's
the moment you start...
preemptive defense.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. And you know why? Because that's fucking human nature. Once you start teaching people not to be human, what's the point?
Right. The idea of a fully peaceful world where there is no violence at all is a good, great ideal one, and one that everyone should continue to strive for. But when it comes to your day-to-day things, people are violent, and the act of existing as life in the world is violent. By necessity, you've already had hundreds of creatures killed to sustain you. Thousands, even. Living is inherently violent in some way. The same way I would call systems inherently violent, right?
Living is inherently deadly.
Yeah. You never get out of it alive.
Well, some do. That depends on how many babies they're willing to drink.
Yeah.
I'm not QAnon, that was a joke.
Oh, gosh. But yeah, no, the violence may never fully disappear because it is going to be an aspect of physical reality forever, unfortunately. But we can still make a better world, or at least a world that is full of justice, if not complete lack of nonviolence. Right?
Justice is just a word with many definitions depending on the people you ask. You know what's more violent than justice?
What?
Not much.
I mean, like, obviously, like, I keep branching back to, like, the MLK quote of, like, there's negative peace and positive peace, you know? Negative peace is where there is just no violence, you know? A world where people are still oppressed, but no one's fighting each other is still a terrible, violent world. So
Look,
that's
all
where I
I'm
gotta sit
saying
on like
is,
the entire point of the
all
show.
I'm saying is, let's just all shave our heads, get a barcode stamped into our foreheads, and let the AI computers just tell us what to do.
Oh, have you seen the AIs? They're racist as hell, man.
They're racist when they're exposed to people. Remember, every AI, chat thing has been completely fine up until it's been exposed to us. We are the things that ruin computers.
They're trained on stuff from us, and guess what some people are?
Well, I'm talking about the ones that get like released onto Twitter or the chat bots and everything. They are
A lot of those
completely
have
fine.
to be sanitized outside of their actual learning mechanism is the
No,
thing.
that's what I'm saying. Is before they are put up to us, we are the thing. We created a thing and then turned it into the worst of us.
Before we make this the AI debate, we should probably go ahead and wrap up.
We already made it the
We'll be here
Avatar
for the
debate.
AI debate.
We already made it the Avatar debate. All I'm saying is that
Yeah.
humans are the worst thing about humanity. If you killed us all, and aliens found our books and our movies and everything else, they would find the best of us because we would be gone.
All I'm saying is I sympathize with every random character out there in anime who just like goes, I reject my humanity. It's like, no, I feel you there. They're kind of terrible.
Griff, we all know that you just want to be Dr. Stone. You want to be us post-humanity and make the world in your new crazy anarchist image.
Yeah, no, that sounds great, actually. So, next time, Dr. Stone.
No, has to be voted on. Don't give that promise.
If you want to see us watch Dr. Stone, vote on it in one of our many polls whenever they happen.
Well,
to
first,
appear.
remember it has to get recommended, and not many people are doing recommendations these days. And I doubt any other viewers have gotten past the bullshit that I've said during the episode to have gotten to this point to even hear. To even get this point to both like Dr. Stone and listen to me at the same time.
I think the only final thought I have to say is that I did still like the rest of the episode outside like all the talk we just had, just for being like a nice emotionally resonant episode. I think all the characters were expressive. I think like the way they acted and like put that back towards the audience was really nice. I thought this was a good, sweet episode.
The best part of this episode for me was the next time.
You get to go to Vinland.
No,
or
it's actually Iceland.
Yeah.
Or Greenland, I think.
No, Greenland, yeah, sorry. Greenland is the one with ice. Iceland is the one that's full of green.
Despite you knowing that, this show doesn't play it that way. That's Iceland, remember?
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. It's just winter over there. No, my bad.
It's always winter. We left during a winter. We're coming back during a winter.
Now is the winter of our discontent. But now is the winter of us wrapping up for the day. This has been Stoneface Reactions, everybody. I'm Griffin. That's Theta. And we'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?